a message to my world. I'm back to my video documentation at the Women's March this here day of January 20th, 2018, approximately 1 year precisely after the first Women's March that I have direct knowledge of. I decided to video document further the Women's March, given that I looked into my battery energy and it seems like there was some restoration after I stopped my video recording earlier into preserving the life of the battery just a little longer with energy. And so here I am. I've been pleasantly and surprisingly in fact stunned from having my exact person surface by the entire Women's March event. How can anyone ever find, within themselves some type of part of something that they have within their mind to bring to the Women's March that could be contrary to the Women's March? So if someone were to have a different view of the Women's March, this is not the place, and this is not the day, and this is not the time to bring those issues to be addressed and to be heard. I am here with my shirt from Germany, sponsoring and promoting castles from Germany. Historically, Germany has a cultural that's enriched with extraordinary and phenomenal architecture from castles. And so my message and my voice in wearing my shirt is consistent with the ideology of the Women's March, where I'm certain women would like to see a fairy tale day to the dark and bad history of all women and women who have been denied their civil rights. So I decided to wear my shirt in my own voice to myself. Of course, I did not bring my ideas. I did not bring my thinking to the Women's March to make. Can I document just a little of your sign? Thank you, big time. Awesome, great sign.
Girl power.
Her sign is Girl Power, which is my whole reason for being here. I'm here for the Women's March, not for boys' power or men's power. So my reason for being here with my shirt is to give voice and to give life to the fairy tale of a vision I have. I have a vision of a fairy tale where women's rights will be equal to men's rights, as well as in every other regard, that everything will pretty much just be corrected. We can even see a sign right there from OCDA, Clean Up OCDA. I'm certain that there's lots of people who would like to see a lot of correction and a lot of fixing to the problem that exists throughout the entire county of Orange. So I am certainly not just one person with these ideas, and there's lots of people here that have legitimate, and their reasons are also beyond credible, to the extent that I'm sure if someone or anyone were to cross-examine them for the purpose of seeking the truth in any of their comments and any of their signs, there will be factual information that will be revealed through the cross-examination of this whole purpose of a movement and the Women's March. Unfortunately, our whole society throughout the entire nation has not been a perfect society, and it has not been a society of a fairy tale as I wish it could be. if there were to be a society, and if we were to be living in a country, in a great nation of a fairy tale that is reflective of a fairy tale, there would be no disgruntled person. And when I say person, person is non-gender based. It is not discriminatory. A person is a person with a personality and a character. A person is not sexist, and a person is not in one specific gender of any type. Rather, a person is acknowledged by that person having obviously human and civil rights. When I make an emphasis of that word or elaborate to the word person, I want to secure that the meaning of person is fully comprehended and not belittled and or not lessened from the full meaning. The fairy tale is what I was sharing for my video documentation. I wish that we could have returned. Unfortunately, the fairy tale of the United States of America, in light of the great or fine moments from the United States of America, have been next to potentially not seen in a very long time. And it's because there is a wide number of problems throughout the entire country, and not only is there a wide number of problems, but in addition there is a veracity of disgruntled problems throughout the country where people unfortunately, because of the disgruntled feelings involving a country that seems to be falling apart, retained animosity in addition to other feelings that could and do encompass hostility and every other negative part of a person that may possibly not be pleasant and may possibly be not positive. From all starting from how the country has lost its fairy tale days. In fact, I recall from my recollection reading a biography from John F. Kennedy, and in his years of the presidency, when he was president of the United States of America before his assassination, his presidency was compared to a fairy tale. A fairy tale of a presidency that encompassed Camelot. And Camelot is popular for its great castle that was the epicenter or the headquarters of Camelot. And Camelot is considered to be by a lot of people to be folklore, a place in time that never existed, only in wild dreams or wild wishful expectations. So that is what at some point America was. America was at some point a Camelot country, and it lost gradually America lost gradually the steam of its Camelot clandestine feature. America was perceived to be, for other countries throughout the world, one of the greatest leaders, or one of the greatest nations to lead the world out of oppression and bigots and tyrants. And now, because America throughout this course of time has gradually lost its focus needed to its own infrastructure, manifesting disgruntled, mixed feelings about our great nation. I am not surprised to see anti-Trump signs or anti-Trump messages. It's almost synonymous to being anti-American. However, it is not anti-American. This whole Women's March is on the principle, based on the principle, and it's wholly based on the value and the belief that every person who swore an allegiance to the flag of the United States of America will be delivered equal rights. And we haven't seen that circumstantially. And we haven't seen it necessarily from facts being provided to those who are having their rights trampled on by the abuse of a power from government that has gone berserk, tyrannical, obsessive about possessing the people as if the people were to be property with no rights. So this point of reference here is about the dehumanizing to women, from my interpretation. How women have been historically dehumanized from their civil rights, led by the incompetence and the inadequate qualities of officials who have been elected into office. Without the maturity and the experience to have the audacity to come forward and to clarify every existing problem the country as a whole faces, and to resolve that problem with all means necessary. No matter if that involves declaring a breach of duty and invalidating the entire Department of Justice, no matter if that involves invalidating the whole presidential office and government infrastructure. What matters is the people of this great nation that need effective leaders, competent, good quality leaders, not incompetent leaders who masquerade around the problems and create an illusion of the problems without ever actually coming forward to publicly announce through the state of affair statement that is provided by the office from the executive in charge, which is the president. In that light, granting a failure by inactions and omissions of the problems of every fact that establishes the incompetence and inadequate leadership coming into light, no matter if there is nothing that is being said, and it's because what is bringing it to the light where it can be seen in terms of the problem, no matter how leadership fails to identify, recognize, and acknowledge the problems, what's bringing it into light is every voice that is being heard, because every voice is, well, in fact, in this type of a circumstance, specifically within this march, there is absolutely merit and there is credibility throughout and within the entire march movement. I don't think that every person marching here today is marching caused by something that is fictional. There is a connection that most of the people here who are marching have made to some type of a threat, and to some kind of a threat to their purpose and to what makes them passionate about their lives individually and collectively. So that specific threat needs to be addressed, and it's being addressed today, and it needs to be resolved. And furthermore, in the future, if everyone in the march decides to march again by the same number of people, less or more, of course, and bringing new issues into light that have not been resolved, those same issues, those same problems, the same threats need to be resolved. They need to be fixed. They cannot be oppressed by tyrants, and they cannot be silenced by bigots simply because they've been appointed into power, into a position of power, of course, through election. So these are some of the conflicts that I'm able to immediately identify to the infrastructure of this great nation, and my reason for my whole reason, and one of my purposes from the life of the future that I am passionate about, where I would love to see the Camelot era return to my great nation and not be denied or not be deprived from what it has been for an extraordinary amount of time. I want the fairy tale to return. I want the fairy tale to return as soon as realistically and reasonably available. I don't